Namaste and Jai Hind listeners. Welcome to the first episode of Voice of Valor, where we honor the heroes who shaped Indian military history with courage, conviction, and sacrifice. Today's episode is a special one. It's not every day that we get a chance to sit across from a living legend, a warrior, a leader, and a national treasure. We are deeply honored to welcome Major General R.P.R.C Naidu, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, and a retired officer of elite 4th Gorkha Rifles, and a veteran of 1965 Indochina and 1971 Indo-Pak War. With a glorious career spanning decades, General Naidu has worn many hats, from commanding troops in the battlefield to mentoring future leaders of the Indian Army. He is a shining example of leadership forged in the heat of war and guided in the life of service. Now, settled in the serene city of Bengaluru, he joins us today to reflect his journey, share untold story of the battlefield, and offer wisdom that only time and service can bestow. So sit back, listen closely, and let's travel through the time with a soldier who helped shape history. Okay, so we have with us Major General R.P.R.C Naidu, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal. Sir, Jai Hind and welcome to the first podcast.
Thank you.
Sir, it's an absolute honor, sir, to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
So you have fought 1965 for counterinsurgency and a lot of experience you have gained from the army and all. So can you tell us about, sir, your early life and what inspired you to join Indian Army, sir?
Okay. Those days in the 50s, there weren't many options available for a young man coming out of school or college. Nowadays, the options are plenty. Not those days. And because I had a family tradition of army life, my family was an army family, so my only option was the army. So I tried twice, one for the ND and one for the IMA, and fortunately I got through to the IMA, and I've enjoyed my entire army life always.
Yes, sir. So what was your first impression of army life during your initial posting?
Oh, fortunately I joined the Gurkhas and joined a battalion, which is a very old battalion, which was raised in 1886. And
so for the viewers, sir, can you tell us about, sir, so what is the Gorkha Rifles and all? So can you tell them about?
Okay, the Gurkha Rifles were raised by the British during the British colonization period, and there were 10 regiments in all. They found that when the Gurkhas from Nepal came down to India under Amar Singh Thapa, they conquered whole of Kumaon and whole of Garhwal, and the British tried to defeat them. They found it very, very difficult. Finally, in the battle in Kalinga, near Dehradun, finally the British gained victory. But they realized that the Gurkhas were great soldiers. So they should not be their opponents, but they should be on their side. Therefore, they decided to enroll the Gurkhas into the British Army. British Army is the Indian Army in British Army in India. So that's how the first battalion, the Sirmur Rifles, was started, the first Gurkhas. And then by and by, as the requirement for troops, especially when the British were fighting the Afghans, they required more troops for Afghans against Afghanistan. Therefore, more battalions started getting recruited by the British. And when the war against the Japanese started, why were Japanese? In the First World War, they required more troops, and therefore more Gurkhas were recruited and sent abroad for the first time. And then they realized that the worth of the British were immense. Therefore, when the Second World War started, they required more troops to fight the Japanese. Therefore, total of 10 regiments of 2 battalions each were raised at that time, and they did brilliantly well, absolutely brilliantly well. And when the British left, they took 4 regiments with them. The 2nd, the 6th, the 10th Gurkhas went with the British. The others remained, they agreed to remain with the Indian Army. So the British Gurkhas, that is the 1st Gurkhas, the 3rd Gurkhas, the 4th Gurkhas, 5th Gurkhas, 8th Gurkhas, 9th Gurkhas, remained with the Indian Army. There were some remnants of the 10th Gurkhas, which were raised a new regiment called the 11th Gurkhas. So these 7 regiments are part of the Indian Army. The British couldn't afford to keep so many Gurkha battalions, and now they have just 1 Gurkha regiment, which is with the British. But the rest of the 7 regiments are in India. A total of 37 battalions are there, Gurkha battalions, in the Indian Army. And when the British were fighting the Sikhs, Maharaja Ranjit Singh saw the greatness of the Gurkha soldier. Therefore, Maharaja Ranjit Singh also took the Gurkhas into his army. That is how the Gurkhas became a part and parcel of the Indian armed system. Okay.
Sir, where were you posted, sir, for the first time?
First time my battalion was in a place called Mao in Madhya Pradesh. It was a garrison battalion, and that I joined the battalion in 1962, June, and we were scheduled to go to Congo as a part of the UN peacekeeping force. We were all set to go to Congo because 3rd First was in Congo. They were to come back to India and we were to replace 3rd First in Congo. And suddenly in October, the Chinese war started. So the Congo thing was cancelled and we were moved overnight. We entered in Indore without telling us where the destination was. So the whole battalion was in the train, and later on we landed up in Dehradun. And in Dehradun, the plan was to convert my battalion, 24GR, into a commando battalion to be dropped behind the Chinese lines for operations. So we did very intense training, very tough training. It was the toughest training that I have ever faced. And 3 months passed after the training. Before we were supposed to go for our para training, being dropped from the air, the war stopped. And therefore the whole plan was cancelled. And we became a normal battalion again. And we were posted to Sikkim. Now Sikkim then was an independent country. It was not part of India at that time. So we were posted in Sikkim. And we enjoyed our stay in Sikkim, though there was no war as such, but we were just in a defensive role in case the Chinese should attack India through Sikkim. So that's how the life was. Then the battalion moved on to a place called Binaguri, and from Binaguri I was posted to the IMA as an instructor, as a young instructor, and from there I went to do the commando course. I did the commando course, and then life carried on after that.
Sir, what was the nature of combat in the 1965 Indo-China War?
Okay, my battalion was in the east at that time, in 65. So we were moved from Binaguri to a place called Islampur on the Bangladesh, then East Pakistan, India border. Okay, and our aim was to go into East Pakistan from Islampur. And I, as a young officer at that time, about 3 years service, I was asked to lead a column into East Pakistan. So I did my initial recce of East Pakistan, over into a lungi, and went into East Pakistan with 3 people with my sign, and carried out my reconnaissance. I was all ready to go, and the battalion was all set to go.
Okay, so looking back, how do you assess the outcome of 1965 war from a soldier perspective?
Yeah, you see, after the debacle of 1962, Because India was very badly beaten in 1962, extremely badly beaten, basically because of lack of leadership, very poor leadership in the Tawang sector. The Maj General was there commanding. He didn't have a stomach for fight, so he withdrew. Then when he withdrew, then a rout started, everybody withdrew. So it was a debacle. Pakistan thought that Indian army is one that cannot fight. So they thought they could take Kashmir by a war. That is how they started the war in 1965 in the western area. And they thought that the Kashmiris will rise against India and support them. But that didn't happen. And therefore, the Pakistanis could not meet their aim at all, whatever aim that they had of getting Kashmir back. And they had a bad defeat. And so the war ended in, we captured Hajipir Pass, but it was given back after the Tashkent Agreement. Okay.
Sir, as you were also posted in Kashmir, and so what was your counter-insurgency and your counter-terrorism?
Okay. In fact, Kashmir has been my karma bhumi. My bulk of my army service was in Kashmir, in different parts of Kashmir, in the Rajouri area, in the Poonch area, in the valley area. Okay. So as a young captain, or a major I think, I was posted to hold a picket. My battalion was there in a place called Mendar. So I was holding a picket in Mendar. Those days there were no roads. It has to be, we had to walk up. The battalion headquarters was on the base, and we used to walk up. It's a 4-hour, 5-hour journey from the base to the picket on top. I had 3 pickets under my command, and being a young officer full of energy, I used to go across quite frequently. The so-called surgical strikes they're talking about now, we were doing it in any number of times, going across, burning up houses, destroying their camps, and coming back. We go at night, carry out our operation, come back. I realized that the Pakistanis were infiltrating still, and I found that they used to come and take shelter in the houses close to the LOC. Okay. And then at night they used to infiltrate. So what I decided, I told my battalion commander and took permission from the brigade commander, I'd like to carry out a major raid into Pakistan, into the LOC, across LOC. And we carried out immense reconnaissance, and then instead we'll destroy about 20 houses on the border occupied by the Kashmir, by the Pakistanis at night. And I took a batch of over 100 men. And the aim was that we let the cattle out so that we don't destroy cattle. Gurkhas are very religious. They don't like to burn cattle. And I said, any people residing inside, you first take them out. And then we had taken kerosene and burned the houses. They were houses made of wood, thatch, and so on. So there was a sequence given, which house we burn first, second, third, fourth, and so on. So we carried out that drill accordingly, as per the drill. The instructions were not to leave any sign behind, not to leave any of our equipment behind, any of our weapons behind, nothing to be left behind. And then one family refused to get out. Then the JCO called me up. He said, what should we do? I said, look, if they're not coming out, you have to burn the house, because it's your turn. After you, somebody else's turn is there. So they burned the house, and those 2 people died within that house itself. And when we were coming back, we found that one boy had lost his magazine of the stem. I said the orders were that you won't leave anything behind. So at that night, with the enemy firing, but they couldn't fire aim, there's no aim fire. I said, you go back with escort and get back that magazine. So he went back with escort with an officer, Colonel Arvind Sharma. He was then a captain. He became an army commander later. Okay. They went back to the same place where they were they laid in ambush and picked up this magazine and came back. So we all came back safe. It has been a record with me that whenever men followed me, they'll always come back safe. Therefore, there was never an opportunity for anybody hesitate to come with me for any operation. So this was just one operation that we carried out. Any number of such things we have carried out throughout in Vendor. In fact, my final assignment in operational assignment, I was posted in Mao in the art track, and I knew that my turn was to come for taking over command of a division. So I went to the MS branch and I told the MS, I said, sir, I don't want to go to a peace station. I know there are opportunities in Secunderabad, in Lucknow. I said, I don't want that. I want an active formation wherever there is operation. He said, okay, I'll keep that in mind. And then soon after that, there was an operation in J&K where the Div commander was injured Indar Verma. So I rang up the MS. I said, sir, Indar Verma has been injured. Now can I go and take over that formation in J&K, inside Kashmir? He said, I've just posted Rustum Nanavati there. So anyway, I'll keep that in mind, and whenever an active formation falls vacant, I'll tell you. And sure enough, after 2 months or so, he rang me up to say 25 Div, which is based in Rajouri Punch. He said, that is vacant. Would you like to go? I said, yes, I'd love to go there. So I went to Rajouri Punch and carried out immense lot of operations there. And we changed the system of guarding the border. Those days, there was no barbed wire, there was no electric fence, nothing. It has to be guarded by physical presence of men. So I devised a new system where we carried out ambushes right along the LC. It was a very large area, 120 kilometer wide area. And it was a very large division. There were 8 battalions in the division. And that finally stopped infiltration in a very big way. Some infiltration did take place. And I used to go to Punch. Punch was one of the brigades. Now Punch was in such a place. The brigade headquarters was located in the palace of the Punch Maharaja, Punch Raja those days. And that brigade headquarters was in visible distance from the Pakistani post. Pakistan was on the high post and the brigade headquarters was down below. So they fired at will. So whenever I went to the brigade headquarters, stayed the night there, and my presence was known. Information used to flow across to Pakistan. And they bombed the Punch Palace. One person died, and fortunately I was saved.
You were also present in the Punch Palace.
Yeah. I was at the Punch Palace. I was saved, and I came back. And of course, we had immense operations to sort out those pickets. Then we sorted them out without any problem. So life was very exciting those days. For 2.5 years I spent in Punch, my last posting. Then I got posted to Army headquarters and I retired from there. Okay.
So you retired from Kashmir only?
No, I got posted to Army headquarters, New Delhi, as the DGMT, Director General of Military Training. And then I retired from there.
Okay, sir. So, sir, you have been awarded with both AVSM and VSM.
Yeah.
So, what do these honors mean to you personally?
Okay. It's just an honor, recognition of the work I did. For the VSM, I got it as a major. My battalion was in Ladakh, and there was a requirement for carrying out a reconnaissance of a picket on the Karakoram Hills. And I found that the division, the 3 Div, which was in Ladakh, had sent 2 expeditions earlier to go to that picket and see the battlefield relevance of that picket. So it had an operational requirement. And both times the expedition had failed. So the 3rd time I volunteered. I said, I'll take this expedition and I'll go to that picket. So I volunteered. I picked up selected men from the division, from my own battalion also, and we trained. Because when I found the reports, the basic flaw was they had not trained well. So we trained for about 2 months, climbing heights all the time. Then I took the expedition across the Khardungla into what is now Siachen area, and we went on the expedition. Fortunately, we used to get a weather report by All India Radio for our expedition. So by that we knew what the situation was. So we climbed and finally we made the summit. And while coming down, I was to go in the next lot because leader does not go in the initial summit party. I was to go next. When we got a weather forecast saying that weather is breaking down, so better evacuate. In the mountains, weather is very, very important. If the weather is not good, you cannot fight nature. So we came down to the base camp, hoping the weather will improve. But the weather carried on bad. By then what had happened, while we were coming down, one boy took off his glasses to wipe his sweat and he became snowblind. Okay, so we had to carry him back downstream. And I, because of the fatigue, I came down with pulmonary edema at the base camp. So the doctor said, you might wait and see how your condition is. It didn't improve. So they called for a helicopter and this boy was snowblind and I were evacuated to the hospital in Leh. Leh had a military hospital. So there I recovered after about a month or so. And then because of the expedition, the report that I gave, Siachen, it was useful for the Siachen operation. And therefore I got my VSM there as a major. The youngest one to get a VSM those days. Okay. And my AVSM, Prativisheva medal, was for my operation as a GOC, as a Major General in JNK, for all the work that we did to try to reduce infiltration and give the Pakistanis a lesson. And because of that, I was given the AVSM.
Yes, sir. So how did you balance your strategic decision of leading and caring of your own men?
Oh, that's a training that we always receive right from IMA days onwards. That I don't know if you know the Chetwood motto. The Chetwood motto says, the safety, welfare of your country comes first, always and every time. The safety, welfare and comfort of your men come next. Your own safety, welfare and comfort last always and every time. So that is the motto we always carry in our mind. Our country first, the men next, and then ourselves last. Okay?
The service before sale.
Huh?
Service before sale.
Yeah. So even when you say you go on a long speed march, say 20 kilometers or 40 kilometers, when we come back, we don't go back to our lines. We first check, take off their boots and see if they're all okay, any blisters, look after that, see that they get hot food, and only then after they settle down, that we go back to our own line. That is a training that has been given right from the beginning, and it carries on till today. There is no change at all in that. Okay.
So what values and principles did Army instill in you that stayed with you throughout your life?
Yeah. One of course is Army, an officer is a gentleman. So no act of disgrace, act of indiscipline, act of telling lies, it is just not done. Just not done. And that remains our second nature. And therefore, I have continued that with the civil. I worked on the civil life also after retirement. That has remained with me, and I made good friends even outside the army also.
Yes, sir. So how has life changed for an army soldier from your time to now?
The army is becoming a lot more technical, very, very technical. You saw that in the last of Sindoor. The kind of weaponry that we have, kind of air defense system that we have, it's become highly technical. So the old army that we had, in fact, when we went to in 1962, we had the bolt action rifle, which fires 1 round at a time. It has a magazine capacity of 10 rounds. After every round you fire, you
303.
yeah, 303. Okay, that was the weapon. Now people have fantastic weaponry. In fact, the unit's infantry battalion has drones and they have missiles. So the army has changed a hell of a lot. Therefore, we need more educated people to come into the army. The old army with, in fact, in our battalion, Gurkha battalion, even 6th standard is enough to join the army. Now you have to be a matriculate minimum. Okay? Because of the weaponry that is there, it will become highly technical. Okay?
Yes, sir. So after retirement, how did you adapt to civilian life, and what keeps you active in Bangalore?
Okay. I retired in 98. Okay. By then, my children, I have a daughter and a son, they both were in professional colleges. My daughter was in National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, doing a design course. My son was in the National Institute of Law in Bangalore. It's a premier law institution. And I found that the pension for a Major General, when I retired, was very meager. It was 10,500 was my pension. So I could not afford their education, professional colleges. Therefore, I had to work. So I used to work in a company called Metamor in Chennai for about 4 years to see that my children's education was complete. And with the values that I had imbibed in the army, I kept a very fine team in the civil society also. In fact, we formed such a nice group then that the friendship continued even now. And now, next week, I'm going to Chennai to attend the wedding of one of the members of the team whose daughter is getting married. So that is how our relations have been right through.
So how do you view India's current defense preparedness and civil-military relations?
I think we are a far great army now than we were ever.
Yes.
Far greater army. Even 1965, we were not so great. We were not so great at all. The turning point was 1962. We started improving the armed forces after that, but not anywhere near what it is today. And 71 was a big landmark for the Indian Army because of the great victory that we had. After that, we never looked back. And somehow or the other, we didn't care too much for developing our border areas. Roads were not built properly, were not there at all. In fact, the then defense minister is from Kerala. He said, we don't want to develop roads in the borders, lest the enemy use it for his benefit. We changed the philosophies now. Our roads are right up to the border, increased where big vehicles can go. And now we've deployed even tanks in Ladakh. We have a new tank called Zorawar, which is a light tank for that area. We have very good weaponry. The guns are long range. The Bofors are there. And it's a great army now. It's a very great army.
Yes, sir.
And they started this system of Agniveer now to getting younger people, educated people to be in the army. And after 4 years, the 25% are taken in and the rest are weeded out, given secondary employment in the paramilitary forces.
So what are your thoughts about the Agniveer scheme?
It's a scheme primarily to reduce the pension bill, but also to enthuse a large number of people to be trained in military matters. And therefore, even the paramilitary forces will get Agniveer trained people in their forces. So by and large, it's a good scheme.
Yes, sir.
But we yet to test it out fully. It's still under 4 years are not over yet.
Yes, sir. So any message you wish to pass to young officers and cadet aspiring to serve India?
Okay. Army is a great life. Armed forces is a great life. Enjoy it. It's a tough life, but you'll enjoy every bit of it. And the army gives you an opportunity to do whatever you want. You want to do flying, gliding, horse riding, all the games that you want to play, whatever games you want to play, it gives you the opportunity. It's a great life and a very secure life, and teaches you a lot of comradeship, brotherhood. And therefore now the colony that I'm living in now here, we're all army people. It's an army welfare organization. All the people who have served with or who have had contact with earlier, they are here, and a great brotherhood life lives here. Okay.
So thank you so much
You're welcome.
for the interview and for this podcast. It's an absolute honor to sit across with you and
Thank you.
listen to your stories and brave stories, sir.
Thank you.